Thanks for watching us here on The Plank on abcactionnews.com. John Sabol alongside Tampa Bay Times Bucs beat reporter Greg Auman. You can reach us at 813-367-0171. We've been taking your calls and reading your tweets all night long as the Buccaneers prepare for another tough battle on the road in Pittsburgh. And real quick, let's go to the keys of the game, because this is going to be a game that the Bucs have to be mistake-free, Greg. First one real quick here, no turnovers. Got to take care of the ball. Hopefully with Bobby Rainey maybe not starting, with Doug Martin starting, you could hopefully see no more fumbles. Bucs have got to stop the run. You heard Andrew Stockey from WTAE in Pittsburgh spoke about the Steelers' offense, just phenomenal on the ground, leading the entire NFL in rushing. And, of course, with Mike Glennon now leading that offense, they need to have a first successful drive to really get that momentum going. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you go 3 for 3 on those three things, you're in good shape. And the Bucs have one touchdown in the first half this season out of 17 offensive drives, and that's not going to win you a lot of football games, especially on the road. Like you said, getting out to a strong start, getting that running game established, whether it's with Doug Martin or whoever else they have in there, that's a must, especially on the road. You mentioned containing their running game. If they can control the game with Le'Veon Bell and with LeGarrette Blount, it could be a long night again for the Bucs.
And let's just hope the Buccaneers can pull this one out. That way we don't talk about how depressing it is to have to go winless again.
Having gone through it last year, it's a long week every week until they get the first week. So for their sake, having seen them go through it too, it's a lot easier to talk to them when they don't have an O at the start of their record.
Right, and we saw last week in the Falcons game, former Buccaneer players tweeting their displeasures. Hopefully we don't need to see that again, because that, I mean, it was embarrassing, it was pathetic, it was awful, but hopefully we won't see that again. But, you know, we'll wait and see on Sunday. Now, let's go to some of our picks for the week here. I know Tom usually does his TK picks. I'll do my Sabol Says, as our producer Christy O'Sullivan likes to call it. I picked 3 games this week. Greg, I have the Steelers beating the Bucs. Sorry, Bucs fans, I just don't see it. It's not adding up. I don't see it happening. Do you agree?
I agree in terms of them losing this week. I don't think the Bucs will lose by 42 this week, for what that's worth. I think they'll play it closer. I think it's probably more like a 10-point loss than a 42-point loss.
Yeah, they better not lose by 42 points. The other 2 games, real quick, that I have that are going to be great to watch on Sunday. New Orleans on the road in Dallas. I have the Saints winning that one. I think Drew Brees is going to come through on the road. And then the Eagles on the road in San Francisco coming off a big win. 49ers have been struggling this year. And a lot of uncertainty going on there, a lot of off-the-field distractions. You don't know about what's going on there. I think those 2 teams, Saints and Eagles, will pull off the win. Agree, disagree?
I agree with you on both counts. I think New Orleans is going to pass the ball pretty well. I think Dallas has a cornerback drama with Morris Claiborne right now. That's not a team I would want to be facing while I have cornerback drama. So I think it could be a good week for Drew Brees there, like you mentioned. As far as the Eagles, the Eagles have fallen behind by at least 10 points in each of their 3 wins. I would not recommend that this week against San Francisco. I think if they can come out and not dig a hole this week, then they can get a 4th win and continue as one of the, right now, only 3 unbeaten teams in the NFL.
Right, and plus we don't know about Vernon Davis's situation, if he's going to be healthy enough. He sat out last week. He hurt my fantasy team. I still won last week, though. Thank goodness.
That's right. Yeah, having him is a big help. That's a team that has underwhelmed to this point. You know, Colin Kaepernick probably hasn't had the numbers he'd like to have right now, but the Eagles' defense can probably help a lot with that, too.
All right, let's read some of our tweets real quick here, Greg, before we get into a segment. If you're a tailgater out there, you're not going to want to miss this piece of a product that you're going to want to have over at Raymond James Stadium here. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's read some of your tweets that you're getting here on Twitter. Remember, using the hashtag #ThePlank.
Sure, I've got a tweet here from Oloco60 who asks, will the worst record in the NFL get us a new coaching staff next year? That's a good question. It's a fair question when he hasn't won yet. I think as long as they do have a win, as long as they get a step in the right direction, anything but 0-16, I think Lovie Smith is fine. They're paying him a good deal of money. They're still paying Greg Schiano a good deal of money from last year. So I think Lovie Smith will be back in any event other than an 0-16 season, and I think he'll be able to avoid that.
And at Mike in Tampa 2, he's questioning Jonathan Banks and Leonard Johnson as number 2 and number 3 quarterbacks. What do you think? He sees them as Band-Aids. Tom Corn is not a fan of Jonathan Banks. He's been really adamant about that on the show. What are your thoughts?
I think the secondary as a whole has kind of been underwhelming so far. You look at even Alteron Werner, who came in as such a high-profile cornerback, got beat by by a waiver wire receiver last week. I think you get beat by Julio Jones, it's fine. People expect that. But had other guys beating him for plays. Jonathan Banks and Leonard Johnson need to step up. I mean, Leonard Johnson's just the nickel, but in Lovie Smith's defense, the nickel is a key position. And those two, you think about facing not only Antonio Brown, but some of the other receivers they have, and even the tight ends down the middle, they have to be able to stop these plays. The third down conversions have been a problem against this defense, and those two corners have to be making plays to stop that on Sunday.
And, you know, the Steelers, people may not realize this, Ben Roethlisberger's quietly having a pretty good season, 7th in the league in passing, and as a team right now, 5th in the NFL in passing yards. Real quick here, we have a segment here, new to the show. Any Buccaneer fans out there who tailgate over here across the street at Raymond James Stadium is going to want to pay attention to this, Greg. I don't know if you saw this earlier. I know we showed you
a picture. Yeah.
I know you saw a picture, but this is not something that you're normally going to see at a tailgate. I'll give you a clue. It goes along with the upcoming Halloween season, and the way the Bucs are playing, many Buccaneer fans would want to put the team in these. To all the Buccaneer tailgaters out there, if you're looking to take your tailgate to the next level, we have the perfect products for you. This is something I guarantee you guys have never seen before. Party Coffins. This is Doug Dawson, owner of PartyCoffins.com. Doug, how in the world did you come up with this idea?
Well, actually, our whole family, we've been Halloween fans forever. For 20 years, we've had huge Halloween parties, and in our Halloween ensemble, we have coffins, we have a hearse, and we blended that with our love for tailgating. And one day we were at a tailgating event and decided that it'd be a really great idea to convert a coffin into a tailgating device. So last year we built one, took it to a few tailgates, and we were bombarded with interest, and probably had 150 to 200 people coming up wanting their pictures taken, asking how to get it, how can they rent one, how can they buy one. So we took that and we built a business model, and we opened up PartyCoffins.com.
And with football in full swing and Halloween right around the corner, the perfect product for a tailgate. Now you have two models here. You have the black one and then you have the bronze one. Explain the difference between the two.
Sure. So the bronze one is our entry-level model. We actually build all these from scratch. These are actually real coffins. So when we receive these, they have all the liners, they have the pillows, they have everything. So what we do is we take all of the material out. We then build the actual coffins to our customer specs, how they want it, and then we will then finish it with all of the original coffin trim in a sense. So this one actually has two coolers. This is a beverage cooler, and we designed this with a meat cooler. So someone who's tailgating, they can separate their meats and their beverages. And then we also have a mini bar over here. And every coffin actually has an outlet where you can plug in a blender, you can put a hot plate, you can do, whatever you want. Gives you some power. And we have a little storage compartment here. So this will actually serve, like I said, as your mini bar, and this is more the entry-level model. Now, over here, this is what we call our premier model. Now, this model, actually, as you can see, has the cooler, but it also has a 32-inch flat-screen TV in it, and it has surround sound in-wall stereo theater speakers. So this one will actually have all of your dish stations, so you can watch your game on the TV. Mm-hmm. It actually has XM radio, has Bluetooth capabilities, so you can sync your music. So you can this really becomes a single-handed, self-contained entertainment unit.
This is basically your family room away from home.
It really is. We have people that actually look at these for parties. We've had people who want these for just their pools, for their outdoor events. The receptivity that we've had in the marketplace has been phenomenal. We never dreamt that the excitement of the marketplace would be to this level. And we're just having so much fun with it. We love it.
I don't think there's anything you guys have not thought about in this, because you have a cooler for food, you have a cooler for drinks, you even have a TV with satellite cable or satellite channels as well, and you have great sound system as well. Now, to me, it seems like you guys have only just touched the surface. Do you have any big plans of what other models you guys want to do, or anything that you also wanted to design?
Well, we do actually. We've had a couple individuals who are looking at wanting us to put more of a keg and actually replacing these with beer taps. So we're working on that model. We also have a variation where we have people who want just the stereo, just the cooler, but the ideas are endless. The ideas are endless that are coming in, and like I said, we're having a lot of fun because everything's custom built. It's exactly what the individual wants.
And real quick, Doug, how can Buccaneer fans get in touch with you if they're interested in purchasing one of your party coffins?
Actually, if you go to www.partycoffins.com, all the information's on the site. Give us a call, send us an email, and what we do is we engage our design team to start designing the coffin for you. Then it goes to our production team, and we will be able to produce these in about 10 days and still get them out in time to enjoy the tailgating season.
A great turnaround with the Bucs being on the road the next few weeks. Still plenty of time if Buccaneer fans are looking at purchasing and ordering one of these fantastic party coffins for your tailgate right across the street here at Raymond James Stadium. I gotta say, Greg, when I saw those, I was just blown away. Like, what would you have thought you could do with a coffin besides, obviously, for what you use it for?
I had just the one use in mind up until now, but now I know, and if I'm ever tailgating, I know I have that to respectfully, morbidly appreciate a football game before it starts.
You could buy that, use it for your tailgate, and then save it for when the time comes.
Absolutely. When that time comes, you're not going to be tailgating anymore.
No.
I think you might as well.
But your family is going to want you to take out the TV.
At that point, well, just so you have it for whatever happens in the afterlife. Their tagline is "Party till you drop," so you have to like that.
Very creative, and Doug Dawson and his crew, fantastic today. The prices on those two items, under $6,000 for the upper class model, and then the lower one under $2,000. So you get a lot of bang for your buck in that, and great feature. And we would love to see those at Raymond James Stadium parking lots here. If any of you fans out there actually go ahead and purchase one and use it, tweet at Greg and I, and we would love to come by and see them. It's pretty cool. So we have about a couple minutes left here, Greg. Closing thoughts here on this game coming up here on Sunday. Your prediction, why you're going to give your prediction the way it is, and then your concerns too.
Yeah, I think Lovie Smith's talked about just playing well for the Bucs. That's the first step for them. When you come off of a game that you lose 56-14, it's easy to make a step forward. For them to win this game is probably asking a lot on the road, playing as well as Pittsburgh did against Carolina on Sunday. So I think they'll play better, but I think it's still probably a game they lose. I would think they get some momentum they can take and have another shot at a tough win against New Orleans a week later.
I think the Bucs' depleted defense is going to outweigh the Steelers' depleted defense. You saw my picks just a moments ago. I have the Bucs falling in Pittsburgh. I just really think there's just a lot of uncertainty. The gelling has not been there yet. There's been so many variables that are going against this team. Mike Glennon is going in there, and he's going into a situation where a franchise have never won before. I think the Bucs' offense will not get blown out. I hope not. And if they do, this is going to be an interesting and depressing show next week. So I still think it's going to be a loss. And I think next week when we talk about the upcoming games for the Bucs, we're going to be looking at them at 0-4 and heading into New Orleans, which isn't good.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. But again, if they win, it'll be a huge story. It gets that relief of getting the first win out of the way. But it's asking a lot this week.
So the game is this Sunday at 1 o'clock in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Bucs will try to go for win number 1. And remember, if you have any comments, displeasure about the Bucs play, tweet us throughout the game. We will read them next week using the hashtag #ThePlank on Twitter. And this has been and remember, you can always go online there at abcactionnews.com, The Plank, where you're watching us now, and you can go back and watch the fantasy segments. You can hear Greg and I talk more about this. We're going to be uploading clips of the show up there all week long. So if you ever see our picks are wrong, come back and just say, hey, you guys were wrong. And of course, you'll hear from Andrew Stockey as well, who joined us from Pittsburgh, and we'd like to thank him as well. And that is pretty much a wrap on this show. Hopefully the Bucs come back and win. Hopefully.
Makes it a lot easier to talk about them next week.
Hopefully, yeah. Greg, thanks so much for filling in for Tom.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And thank you guys for your phone calls, your tweets, and watching The Plank presented by Jeep. We'll see you back here next week.